Welcome to Unit 2, Inequalities. We are now looking at using addition to solve inequalities and subtraction to solve inequalities. So some key concepts here. The addition property of inequality tells us that basically if you have A is greater than B and you add the same value to both sides of the inequality, you still have a true statement. And the same if it were greater than or less than, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. If you have a number, let's say A is greater than B, and you take away 10 from both sides, you're still going to have that same inequality hold true. Okay, so if 3 is greater than 1 and you add 2 to both sides, think about it. Now you have 5 and 3. Well, 5 is still going to be greater than 3. If you have -4 is less, or -5 is less than 4, and you add 2 to both sides, now you've got -3 is still less than 6. And the same with subtraction. If you have 3 is greater than -1, and you subtract 2 from both sides, now you have 1 is still going to be greater than -3. And then -5 is less than 4. And if we subtract 2 from both sides, now we've got -7. Well, that is still less than 2. So all we're doing here is when we're adding something, the same thing to both sides, or subtracting the same thing from both sides of an inequality, we are creating equivalent inequalities. They still hold true to their parts, and they are just inequalities with the same solutions. The answers are going to be the same no matter what. So let's see this in practice. Here we have the inequality 8 is greater than or equal to D minus 2. And we're going to graph and check our solution. So you're going to solve this just like you would if this were an equation. You've got 8 is greater than or equal to D minus 2. You want to solve for D, so we're going to get rid of that -2 by adding 2 to both sides. Combining like terms, we're now left with 10 is greater than or equal to D. Okay, I'm going to flip that inequality and say D is less than or equal to 10. Okay, and so because it's equal to, I'm going to close in a circle on 10, and I'm looking for values that are less than 10, so that is going to the left. Now we can check our answers, and I recommend checking with an easy point and plugging it back into the original problem so it makes sense. So in this case, I'm going to pick 0. 8 is less than or equal to, and then I'm replacing the D with 0, minus 2. So I'm left with 8 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 2, which is -2. And is 8 greater than or equal to 2? It is. So that's kind of our check that we did this correct. Now let's see this in a real world context. So in this problem, we need to write our own inequality. So in order to receive a B in your literature class, you must earn 350 points of reading credits. Last week you earned 120. This week you earned 90. How many more points must you earn to receive a B? So what we want here is we want our points to be greater than 350, and it didn't say equal to, it has to be more than, so we're going to use that greater than sign. And we're going to let X equal points to be earned, okay, points needed. And now we're going to write our inequality. So let's start thinking about all of the points we have. So we have 120 from last week. We have 90 from this week, plus we have all of those points that we're going to still earn, our points that are needed. That sum needs to be greater than 350. So I'm going to simplify my inequality a little bit here, and I get 210 plus X is greater than 350. And now if I want to figure out how many points I still need, I'm going to use the subtraction property and subtract 210 from both sides of my inequality. Again, keeping that inequality still balanced and holding true. And I'm left with x is greater than 140. So if you think about what that means, I need to earn 140 points in order to get a B in this course.